Hello and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to be going over everything that sold at my last market. Now, before we get into that, I just wanted to recap with you everything that's been going on. First, let me pull this up though. That's not what I meant to do. So first I wanted to go over with you like my little recap for my year so far and the event. I will say I've had bad luck at events kind of all year and this takes the cake. First event, if we don't recall, which I'll link the video right here, I had merchandise stolen from me for the first time. Don't love that. Second event I did at Beasley Farms, which should have been like easy peasy lemon squeezy, which it was good, it was fine. But I had the coordinator who runs the event and runs the store that the market's associated with tell me that I should probably just take the bees that I had in the store home because she doesn't think they're selling. Now I disagree because I've made $300 with my bees in the store. However, I did make that over a span of 6 months, but I mean, that's $300 without really having to do anything except make the product because they're selling it for me. So I wasn't against it. I know it's not a ton of money, but it's some. So I was feeling kind of salty about that. So no more bees in the store for me. So I call that a bad thing that's happened at an event. The third event I went to, it rained literally all day, which I will link that video right here. I think that might have been with the Beasley Farms one. So I'm either linking 2 or 3 videos, hard telling. But yeah, it rained the whole day. I barely broke $100 because it rained the whole day. And I also got sick that same week after that, probably because I was outside in the rain all day and that lowers your immune system. So yeah, I was sick for 3 weeks after that. I still have an ever so slight lingering cough, but I don't feel sick anymore. It's just the remnants of cough, basically. Yeah. Which brings me to the doomsday event, basically. That was the Floral City Strawberry Festival. Now, mind you, this was the 37th annual Floral City Strawberry Festival, so they'd done it before. However, from the word go, the organization was terrible. For instance, they sent us an email on Wednesday before the market on Saturday, Sunday, saying that we had to be set up at noon on Friday. No. First off, that was not in the paperwork. Second off, some of us have day jobs. I don't. Zach does. So my car is with him at work. And I also rely on him to help me set up because everything's heavy. And it also takes 2 of us to set up because we have no babysitter up where we live. Our family, the closest family is over an hour away. And it's pretty much his family and then my dad and stepmom. And none of those are real babysitter people. Even if we were down there to drop them off to babysit. Zach's sister does sometimes, but it's a rarity. Anywho, it just was not gonna work. So that already was making my eye twitch. And then we asked if we could set up at 4:35ish on Friday instead, which they did accommodate. They made sure to tell us they accommodated it for us. Except we go and do that and then they kick us out of the park while setting up at 6:30 that evening because the park gate was being shut off. So we didn't even get to finish setting up. Then that brings us to Saturday. We were told in that email about setting up that there will be no vehicles allowed in the venue on Saturday or Sunday. You were to come and either walk your stuff in or not come. So we came Saturday morning, finished setting up by walking the last little bit in the cash box and whatnot, which was a far walk from where we parked. So keep that in mind. Then Saturday, the sales were good. I will say that. I paid $100 or $140 for the event, 2 days, 9 to 5 the first day, and the second day was supposed to be 9 to 4. I definitely made back my booth fee. We'll get into that. But what had happened was we knew that rain was coming, but we didn't know a full-blown aggressive category 3 storms worth of rain was coming. So all of us left our tents overnight, and some people were even told if they packed up their tent and got it out of there that they would not be allowed to come back on Sunday. And I was not told that, but I do believe that people were actually told that because A, why would they lie? And B, why would all of us leave our tents if some people weren't told that? I mean, I don't think everybody was dumb like I was. I think they were probably told that got passed around. You know how it is at events. But what had happened was the storm came through. All I had done to really secure my tent, which I've done events in the rain and I've left my tent overnight when it's rained, and this stuff has previously worked. It was definitely weighed down, good amount of weight on each leg, like 30 pounds on each leg. We had pulled everything toward the center because, you know, when there's some wind, like the walls whip a little bit, which can like knock down the grid walls. And then we just kind of like zipped her up and like later dazed out of there. All 4 walls on, obviously roof on, and we just kind of pulled everything in. What I should have done, and this is like the big takeaway, this is why I'm even why I'm even taking time to tell the story, is if you have to leave your stuff overnight, even if you think the weather's going to be like aces, just take your stuff off your walls or off your table and like put it in like a tote with a cover just in case, because it was like not kosher. None of my walls were like messed up, like everything was still intact other than I guess the wind got up under my tent and 2 of my 4 walls went down, and of course it was raining like a mother truck, so it went down into like wet mud goo. So I got there Sunday. Well, technically my friend got there first. She was walking by, seen my booth, messaged me, said it was bad. I asked her on like a scale of like 1 to 10 and she's like, yeah, it's pretty bad. And then I get there and of course it was like the 2 walls with the most expensive, biggest plushies on them that went down. So I'll like insert a clip here. Yeah, bad, right? I ended up just packing up that morning, Sunday morning, and leaving. And I told the coordinator I was leaving, like half my stock was ruined. I need to like address it so it doesn't potentially stay ruined, and they were fine with it. However, later, after the event, some people were posting in the Facebook event page that like it would be nice if the Chamber of Commerce, who like did the event, did something for the vendors because they were told that they didn't leave their tent, they wouldn't be allowed back the next day. So it is like a little bit partially their fault, not to mention like the bad organization, the fact that like the terms that we like applied to, thinking were the terms, weren't like upheld. Like for instance, the paperwork actually said that vehicles were allowed in up until 8:15 a.m. So if we had been able to like do that, maybe more people would have taken down their tents or like taken their stuff out and then just drove their stuff in early in the morning, unpacked and like parked, which I of course knew that it was going to be a long shot. I was expecting to hear, you know, I'm sorry, but no. Instead, the Chamber of Commerce got on their like little Facebook and were messaging the vendor who, because she was trying to get people together to like tell their story and report their product damage, just so like build a case basically to at least get some like booth fees refunded. They started out the conversation with, are you clairvoyant? Did you know it was going to rain? The Chamber of Commerce. And then they like hit her with the, I guess you should have had business insurance, huh? And then they like hit her with like, this isn't our fault, it was an act of God. And if they like knew anything while they were being like rude and passive aggressive, insurance can cover a lot, but it does not cover acts of God. So like, which is it? We should have had business insurance, or it was an act of God, because like you can't have both. So that really left a sour taste in my mouth. Fortunately, we were able to remedy the vast majority of my plushies by Zach got him home, hosed him off outside to get the bulk of the dirt off, and then we ran like 2 loads like through her wash with some like OxyClean, because I wasn't really worried about like the bulk of the dirt or anything. I was worried about the dirt staining. And other than the stuff that had like white and like lighter yarns, which I feel like you can see the dirt stain, most everything looks pretty good. I had some like worming with the yarn. Some of the stuff that was made with Parfait chunky like yarn loops like are sticking out a little bit, but I think I could tuck that in. The Parfait or the Bernat blanket dried pretty much the same texture off the skein, though the Parfait chunky dried a little bit rougher than it originally was. But unless the customer is like super familiar with like the texture of that yarn, I don't think they're gonna know that it's like different. So all in all, like it could have been worse. But the reason why I'm definitely more than likely not doing that event next year is you could tell they just absolutely gave no shits about like any vendors there, even though they wouldn't have an event without the vendors. And even though we all paid, like all 300 plus of us paid a minimum $140 to be there, making them over $40,000 in just vendor fees, not to mention they charged people to come into the event to see all our booths, that is like our businesses and our merchandise. They don't care. They were in it for the money grab, and that showed, because I definitely, like I said, I wasn't expecting to get the money back. Knew that was a long shot. I technically probably don't even deserve to get the money back, because like at the end of the day, I really didn't lose much merchandise, and it is a little bit my fault because I could have still left my stuff but secured it better, which again I recommend to you guys. Like, take your stuff off the walls, take your stuff off the tables, and even though like the benefit of leaving your stuff overnighted so you're already set up the next day. Just a lot of time to set your stuff back on your tables and on your grid walls. You don't have to break everything clean down, but just like put your product up so it's like secure. Because I probably could have like carried the tote out of there with the plushies in it and it would have been fine and pretty easy to carry it back in the next day, even though it was a far walk. But yeah, like I said, I expected them to say no. I did not expect them to like patronize us, and that was just gross. Left a sour taste in my mouth. That aside though, it was a good event, and I will tell you now what I sold. Because this was going to be such a big event, they expected to turn out around 15,000, like 3 zeros. I wanted to add a little more than just plushies to my booth because like that handmade item in particular is quite time consuming, but I wanted to make sure I had the, you know, inventory to sustain like having product the whole market. So I got some gibbets and some stickers to resell. And yeah, I made $42 there. And now moving on to the plushies. I sold 8 pop mushrooms for $13 each. That is Cable and Canvas's pattern. I sold 6 mini frogs. That is Katie Being Creative's mini frog pattern. I sold those
a few minutes later.
Okay. Battery died. I sold 6 mini frogs. That's Katie Being Creative's mini frog pattern on Ribbler. I sold those for $8 each. I sold 4 of All From Jade's mini octos for $5 each. I make them in worsted weight yarn for that particular product. I sold 4 adult axolotls for $15 each. I call them adult axolotls. They're like bigger than the other ones I stock. I sold 3 of the baby ones I stock. I don't remember who the big one is the patterns from. Maybe Crochet Grove, but don't quote me on that. But the baby one is definitely Alyssa G's pattern, and I was selling those for $10 each, and I sold 3. I sold 3 baby sharks for $10 each. That pattern is by Rachel the Farmer's Wife on Etsy. I sold 2 mini bees for $6. That is my pattern. That is, I make those in Parfait Chunky single-stranded. I sold 2 of my leprechauns for $40 each. You can buy that pattern on Etsy. I sold 2 ducks. That is a pattern by Cozy Stitch for $40 each. I sold 2 dinosaurs. My dinosaurs are a mix of my pattern, which is on my Etsy, and Meg Makes Crochet or Meg Makes Patterns, something like that. I do both. Majority of them are hers, but I supplement with my T-Rex because she doesn't have a T-Rex style dinosaur. At least not in the pattern pack I have. So I can't recall here which ones I sold, but I sold 2 for $18 each. I sold 2 birds for $18 each. Now in the birds section, I stock Madeline Mako's Penguin, the Mabel the Chicken pattern by Oak and Marlowe, and then the like no-sew birds from the original pattern pack by Harrow Crochets. It's a chick, a duck, and a rooster. I don't recall which ones I sold, but they were $18. I sold 2 $20 mystery bags. I sold 2 $15 mystery bags. I sold a strawberry pillow for $30. I sold a Wonder Crochet no-sew turtle, the small version, for $25. I sold a mini whale for $10. That is also an All From Jade pattern. I sold a small turtle for $20. That is, I also think it's Meg Makes Crochet or Meg Makes Patterns, whatever her business is called. And I think it's Tofu Turtle. I sold a plush mini octo, which is All From Jade's pattern. This is in plush yarn, whereas I also make it in worsted weight yarn, but I sell the plush version for $8. I sold a large whale for $15. That is also All From Jade's pattern. I sold a large unicorn for $40. That is a pattern by Madeline Mako. I sold a large bee for $12. That once again is my pattern, except I make it for the large ones in weight 7 yarn, jumbo yarn, whatever you want to call it. I sold a great white shark for $45. I don't remember the pattern maker, but it's Grady the Shark. If that helps, it'll be like linked on my master Google Doc. My master Google Doc of patterns has like every pattern I've pretty much ever used in my business. A lot of them are paid patterns, some of them are free, and I just got tired of like putting together a pattern list for like every video, because pretty much every video I make I talk about patterns. So I do my best now to like just tell you, if I remember off the top of my head, who the pattern designer is, so you guys can like find it easier on that list. The next thing thing I sold was a giraffe lovey. This is my own pattern, my newest pattern, Jenna the Giraffe. I'll have that linked below. I sold it for $30. I sold a carrot Easter egg for $5. That is from my Easter egg pattern pack. It's 4 different types of Easter eggs. I've pretty much sold all the eggs except the solid one, which, you know, fair because the solid one's pretty boring. But the other ones are cute and sell well. And I sell them for $5 because they're super quick makes. I took an order for $35. That is for this hat. I didn't sew the fleece on lopsided. It's a double palm beanie. I just ran out of palms, so they're coming in the mail tomorrow. And it's supposed to be cuffed up a little bit higher, but you get the gist. Oh, that's the seam in the back. Yeah, you get the gist. I did that for $35. That's velvet yarn, Bernat velvet, whatever. I sold a big leggy frog for $15. That's not Jaded Co. I sold a baby possum for $15. That is Crochet by Jenna. I sold a baby unicorn for $30. I do believe that is Kind Master, maybe Kind Maker, something like that. But don't quote me on that one. I'm not sure. I sold a baby frog for $12. A baby leggy frog. That's also not Jaded Co. I sold a baby cow for $30. That is a Madeline Mako pattern. And I sold a $25 mystery bag for, you know, $25. So in total, I sold 104 items with a revenue of $1,044.80. So $1,044.80 minus my $140 booth fee. I made about $904. For a hot minute there, I thought I lost like a couple $100 worth of merchandise because my cow and my pig plushie are both $62. Those were in the mud. I had another cow, which is another Madeline Mako cow, longhorn cow. That's $50. So that right there is like $170. Another Madeline Mako baby cow, those are $30, so that's like $200. And that was just on like one shelf of my grid walls. And most of my grid walls have like 4 to 5 shelves. And mind you, 2 of the grid walls went down. So you can pretty much map that as like real bad. But pretty much everything cleaned up and was able to be fixed except for the big cow that I have. I don't remember the pattern maker, maybe Stitchin' with Abby, but it's like primarily white. So you can, I feel like you can really see the dirt stains. I'd ask Zach, but he's colorblind, so I feel like that might not be like a fair assessment. I gotta like ask my friend. Most everything else looks okay. So it definitely could have been worse, but I don't like being treated like super rude by the Chamber of Commerce, especially when I was part of the reason why they made so much money over the weekend. But I digress. If you'd like more crochet content, you can check out this video right somewhere, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!